All right, so here we are in the Miracle Work 2 meeting. I'm happy that you're here and that you signed into this, being directly present in the class or watching this. Thank you so much for doing that. It's really great that we can connect this way in this time, at this moment. And yeah, if you've never heard of this, well, that doesn't matter. You're still able to recognize what is being shared with what is resonating in you. That's why you come to this place, and that's why you can just sit down, relax, and let it all come to you. And it is today. It's all about perception, looking at things, about how can it be that I can experience miracles, for instance? How can it be? What does need to shift in order for me to see miracles, to see them happen? And so we're really looking at perception about what is it that I see, and how can that change? And so today we use parts of chapter 11, chapter 14, and who knows what, it's like the most essential part of this class actually is that we come together to relax deeply into the recognition of our shared oneness, our shared beingness, our shared light and love. So that also is an essential part of this coming together. So the purpose of it is basically to let go of what you think that we are doing, to let go of what you think you understand, to let go of what you think supposed to happen now, or what you would love to happen now. All of that can go now. It's just like now becoming open and receptive. That's basically the thing. So by letting go, you become receptive. There's space for something else. So if you didn't do that already, so breathe a couple of times, like, so good to relax. Oh my God, I'm so relaxed. So happy to just heard a bit of the music, like the Amazing Grace. Yeah, I would love to experience that. Yes, I did experience that during the songs, like this beautiful stillness, this beautiful presence that is just here. And when we meet, so we suddenly come into a shared recognition of our same source, and that feels so good, and that relaxes so deeply your system if you allow that to occur to you. So this is the meditation for today, for this moment. We step into that. Just relax deeply and see what happens. Okay, yeah, you turn inside. You can open your eyes or you can close your eyes, whatever works for you. But actually you're sinking already deeper into a sense of presence. And you feel that, you start to feel that, like, yeah, this is different than a moment ago. Something is lifting. I don't know exactly how this works at all, but I can feel that, I can experience that. Wow. That is so great. Wow. Sure. Yeah. So with the Amazing Grace, with the music that we just heard, it is like, yes, we listen to this with just one ear, with a mind that is in communication. With a whole mind, we can listen to this and come into the totality of the recognition of our oneness. Not that the song does that, no, but the unification that takes place when we open ourselves up to hear something. We use literally our senses too and go beyond them to experience something else, to experience a deeper connectivity, a deeper connection together, just by only having no defenses against it, and just by not protecting ourselves or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, the relaxation takes place. Oh, that's so good. So this is the basis of our coming together, and that can be as intense as if you want it. And it can be as, say, peaceful as you allow it to be. And certainly is helping you to let yourself be rejuvenated and newly inspired, because this is all by inspiration. So the fatigue or the tiredness is flowing away, and suddenly there's inspiration again. Ah, feels so much better. Yeah, better, better, better. So to come into the right perspective, so to speak, to come into a perception that's actually supporting your spirituality, to your inspiration, is a lovely thing to have occur. And it is very well possible. It's like the perception that you use, the way that you look and feel, can stop at the 3D place, but it can also go beyond it. And so this coming together of us is really an invitation to go beyond the perception and beyond perceiving differences and beyond perceiving like contrast or strangeness or whatever. No, this is to go beyond that, to come to a place where you actually allow yourself to go beyond the perception and come into a whole different way of experiencing being together here with your brother. So see, I always use a bit of script. So whether I use the books of Course in Miracles, like the volumes that are available, or whether I use Joel, or whether I use the Bible, or I haven't done that for a while though. But whatever script I use, I always use that too, to always say point also to you that these scripts are just available for your use. So that's why I love to demonstrate that too, because they immediately support me in what I do. I can read a little part and there's the inspiration. Suddenly it's like, oh, wow, that was so easy. The inspiration is right here. I only have to read one paragraph and look at what it's bringing. It like immediately unfolds something in me. And that's why I love to use that, because it's nice to show this, that you can use that and that it's available. And it's always different and it's always creative too. It's like, oh, I never read this before. While I've been through the text maybe 10 times or even 100 times, but there's something completely new suddenly available. I love that. So today too, like I opened the book, chapter 14, and I read this line. This has also to do with perception. When no perception stands between God and his creation, or between his children and their own, the knowledge of creation must continue forever. The reflections that you accept into the mirror of your minds in time, but bring eternity nearer of Father. So they bring eternity nearer of Father. See, this is great to be aware of. Like, oh yeah, wait a minute. This is how it is. Eternity itself is beyond all time. Eternity itself is beyond all time. And my perception is either bringing eternity closer to me, it's like coming to the end of time, or taking more time. If I perceive differences, then I will say make some time up for myself. That makes it different. So talking about differences, that's the easy thing to see yeah, coming from a human perspective, that is the easiest thing to see. You perceive in differences, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing it. Like it is red, it is yellow, it is purple, it is small, it is big, it places a shadow over things, or it you know, it's bigger than, and it's more expensive, or you know, we as human beings think that way, that is how our world is put together. And it is directly in the way of, say, of knowing, of knowledge. It's directly in the way of perceiving eternity closer to us. You know, it's like the whole miracle mindedness is based on not these differences, not using these differences, but see the likeness of one another, seeing the likeness, and also the say, there's really a total connectedness. So it's either a confirmation of that connectedness, or it's like a separation of that connectedness. In these things, I can say them, and we can practice them, like they're beautiful lessons made for them, to start to perceive in a different way. And this was a bit why we were talking about the other day too. It's like it's coming to say a development of vision, you know, spiritual vision. You actually start to see things in a different way, and that asks for a bit of training, and that asks for a bit of it's like willingness to see it differently than you're used to. Because as long as you perceive differences, that has an immediate effect on you, because you're alienating yourself. You know, you're making yourself separate from everything by doing so. And you've heard this before. It's not new to you, but it is, for it to be undone is quite a step, you know, because you keep dragging that into your habits, you know, to compare, to to see the differences, to yeah, all that what I just shared, you know. So here we are. We have a possibility to shift into miracle mindedness in this class. You know, it can happen here easily, no problem. It is literally designed for it. So that is the invitation for today too, to let these perceptions go. Even if we say stand in the spotlight ourselves, or stand watching the brothers, my sisters, stand in the spotlight, we will not perceive differences. But now the invitation is then to see it in a different way, to go beyond the beyond what you see in all the details, and beyond the contrast, and beyond the differences. So here's one more thing that I really would love to bring in too. So that is when you see, yes, my brother is giving love like in a beautiful way. It's like, oh my God, I'm totally blinded by this light. So beautiful. That is so great. So the opportunity then is to completely accept that, completely receive it, and enjoy it. You know, you share it with your brother. This is the moment to celebrate that together. That's really wonderful. You know, it's really wonderful. And in the next moment, when you see your brother's literally in need of love, then it's up to you what you do with that. Then it's up to you to give it. You must give it in that sense. You must give that to him. You know, you don't want to see him like that. You don't want to let him, yeah, working things out on his own. No, you can give it to him, and this is your. It's like this is your provision. You see that, and you have the possibility to give it. And if you start doing that, you see that that works for both of you. That really is like the basis of miracle mindedness. You recognize the need in your brother, and you give it to him. Even in this dream state that you're in, even that you think like, yeah, well, it has no reality. It's just a reflection and blah, 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 blah. Like you can train yourself in doing that too. So then you separate yourself off. So there's no win-win situation. No, you're aware that you're dreaming. That's great. Now you can also be aware that you can give to your brother and not hold yourself back to do so. So this is another part then of these two examples that I sketch to you. No, so give. It's your must do to give to your brother. See, and I repeatedly said the word must. Because here we come to one of the, like the fundamental parts in you of accepting God's will, accepting God's will. As long, so this is, I directly go always to the spoiler of the whole thing, so to speak. The one thing that happens to you when you hear the word must is that you think that limits your freedom and that there's a conflict. There's a conflict with you and God. God wants something and you want to go that way and he's wanting to go that way. Now you have a conflict because you think that your will is separate. So that's a spoiler. Okay, your will is not separate from God's will. Like you will have the same purpose if your purpose too is one of happiness, of joy, of loving your brother as yourself, like the law of love, the golden rule. Don't do unto others what you don't want to do to yourself, and also do to others what you want to do to yourself. So see, this is so incredibly basic and fundamental, and this is yet years of training. It takes forever. It takes not forever. It goes quicker and quicker, but you're being confronted with, oh my God, yeah, you asked that of me? Oh, really? Is this about me? You're seriously talking to me? Or is it more like, yeah, God's will for me is perfect happiness, but yeah, wow, that's quite overwhelming, to be honest. I don't know if this is a good day for that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow then. Or yeah, well, I will consider it later in this class. So you see what I'm pointing at, and you also recognize this. So one of the miracle principles was there's no order of difficulty in miracles. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. So the differences or the order of difficulty that we think that we see, doesn't make any sense. And well, you say like, well, I know about mind and I know quite a bit about psychology. And yeah, I know that it's a normal response of the human mind to do it this way and that way. And yes, there's some ego and there's some subconscious, and it's all a bit like working together. And this is how we spend our day. And see, and then I just read here in this little piece in this chapter 14, like, no, wait a minute, you don't know anything about the dynamics of the mind. You really don't know anything about it. I will read it to you in a minute to know that the source of it is literally in the book. Like literally your source is speaking to you in this book about how you think about yourself, about what you can do and what you actually cannot do at all. So that's one thing, the dynamics of the mind. See, the other part is analyzing yourself, your own behavior, and how am I doing? Your self-consciousness, you being self-conscious about yourself, standing in the spotlight or having ideas about yourself. So standing in the spotlight and being conscious of yourself is basically you're conscious of your ego, because if you would just be yourself, there was nothing that wanted to know itself in terms of analysis. So you're actually examining your ego, and you try to come to really good understanding about the ego, and but not total understanding. Always a bit like, yeah, it's maybe 80%, but never completely, so that it dissolves into more certainty or anything like that. No, it is always, say, evoking questions too. Like, yeah, okay, I did this quite good, but is there another way? Can I do this even in a better way? Or can I do it next time this way? So the one thing for sure, and that's also in this text, the one thing for sure is that um, the ego, so to speak, loves you to examine it and not to come to too straightforward conclusions about it, but keep asking questions and say continuing, postponing, or even, yeah, letting the doubt about yourself grow. That's what it loves to do, because it doesn't really like you. It's not a good friend, so to speak. So that has also to do then with your response to the will of God. Like the fact that you think that something is limiting you as you would perform the will of God, and you must do the will of God. And you forgot about the fact that this is the law of love, that this is a law of extension, of complete communication, and of complete recognition of one another in a shared purpose, in like a perfect relationship with every aspect of creation. And that is bigger than you can possibly imagine. And so the overwhelmedness that can come up with, say, even considering this idea is literally, say, beginning with the idea that you are afraid to completely lose yourself in that. And that's okay. It's okay. It's not forbidden to be afraid of something. It is just that there's no need for it. There's no need for you to be afraid of that, because it will be the most natural thing for you to happen. So this is all in the shift to miracle, like in chapter 14, the shift to miracle. And so I'll read two more paragraphs, and then in fact we can already start sharing together. And see, today, who knows what is going to be shared? It is not that you have to share. No, it is just an opportunity to sit in the spotlight, so to speak, and see what happens to you. See what comes up, like an inspiration or a thought or a phrase or a bit of text that you just read and was so incredible. Or maybe you want to share an experience that you had a couple of days ago that was so profound for you that you actually think like, well, this really was a miracle to me. I had no idea that this could happen, or that it would look like this and feel so close to me. Or, I will not tell your story. But so be totally invited and be totally aware of the one who is sharing. So is he giving love and you completely receive it? Or is he literally asking for love and you must give then and feel that experience of, yes, this is my function, to give to my brother, give him everything, give him the love, give him, what I can possibly give to him at this moment. So that is the beauty of this class. We come together, we express ourselves after a bit of inspiration. We share what is living in us and see how that is inspired and how that helps us to heal any idea of limitation or difference. Because you don't want to perceive in terms of differences any longer. There's no need for you to have that occur. So thank you so much for participating in this class with me. And I promise to read two more of these paragraphs. I'll do that right now. So I'll start with the first one. So 14F, section F, the shift to miracles. When no perception stands between God and his creation, or between his children and their own, the knowledge of creation must continue forever. The reflections that you accept into the mirror of your mind in time, but brings eternity nearer, our Father. But eternity itself is beyond all time. Reach out of time and touch it with the help of its reflection in you. And you will turn from time into holiness, as surely as the reflection of holiness calls everyone to lay all guilt aside. Reflect the peace of heaven here and bring this world to heaven. For the reflection of truth draws everyone to truth. And as they enter into it, they leave all reflections behind. In heaven, reality is shared and not reflected. By sharing its reflection here, its truth becomes the only perception which the Son of God accepts. And thus, remembrance of his Father dawns on him, and he can no longer be satisfied with anything but his own reality. All right, so that is so great. And that's why you are here, you know, especially because of this last one. The remembrance of his Father dawns on your mind, dawns on you, and he no longer can be satisfied with anything but his own reality. See, and that is your pull to find ways to have that as your reality, to dive deeper into that and to let this be completely true for you. All right. Well, thank you so much for being part of this and having the reminder of the day. So now go on and be at peace and give them heaven, I would say.